Greetings. Do without wilt shall be the whole of the law. I'm Lexi Eve, and we're continuing on with the short upload today. To me, this is a really fun one, and so we're doing Magick Without Tears, chapter 31. Religion. Is Thelema a new religion? Let's get into it. Crowley is going to start off by quoting Mackie, her question, and then he's going to answer it, and then so just to make it clear, there's a quote and a subquote. So let's start off. Kara Sora. Would you describe your system as a new religion? A pertinent question, you doubtless suppose. Whether it may happen to mean anything is what we must try to make clear. End quote. So let's stop right there. Her question is, would you describe Thelema or AA as a new religion? And he said, we're going to try to make that clear. So a lot of people argue about this. This is not new. It's been going on for a long time. There are people, I like this as a religion. It's philosophy. It's a way of life. Is it any or all, or, what is Thelema? So technically, by definitions, it can be all of these, depending on what you need from it. The law is for all, though not everyone is going to be a practitioner, nor reach any significant level of attainment by practicing. If you wish to follow a clerical or theological lifestyle, you can do that with the holy books and sacramental rites. If you need to pursue union with the holy guardian angel, discipline your mind and discover the mysteries, you can do that. If you need to be a scientist and analyze nature, you can do that. Now, words are important, but I think semantics muddle the whole affair. The main problem with religion in its present state is that most religions foster a group of followers that don't actually understand anything, that are usually conditioned to believe in whatever nonsense they are told for fear of persecution or a doomed afterlife, or otherwise are taught surface-level bullshit, thinking they have found some deep truth. If you can null these issues, then I don't think religion is a bad thing. We'll talk about the difference between magic and miracles in just a moment. I'm sure Crowley won't answer around the question, so let's first see what he says. Quote, true, it's a slogan of AA, the method of science, the aim of religion. Here the word aim is, and the context help the definition. It must mean the attainment of knowledge and power in spiritual matters, or words to that effect. As soon as one selects a phrase, one starts to kick holes in it. Yet we both know perfectly well all the time what we do mean, end quote. So the equinox and apparently AA, the slogan, ultimately boils down to understanding nature and attaining union through the method of science. So hypothesis, experiment, results, observation. Did it work? Did it not work? If it doesn't work, go back to the beginning. If it did work, congratulations, you found the new fact of science. So it doesn't say that Thelema is a religion, but rather it's the goal of what religion is supposed to aim for. Quote, religion, he says Latin, religio, piety, collection or paying attention to, religions, as opposed to negligence, neglecting, the attitude of Gallio, end quote. Sorry, he's going by Skeet's dictionary. So Skeet says that religion, as from Latin, is religio, meaning piety, the opposite of negligence, neglecting. Quote, but it also implies a binding together, i.e. of ideas, in fact, a body of doctrine. Not a bad expression. A religion, then, is a more or less coherent and consistent set of beliefs with precepts and prohibitions therefrom deducible, end quote. By this etymology and definition, Thelema is a religion, as it has a definite training of the mind for mental discipline and awareness, a doctrine of ideas bound together. In fact, Thelema, at the time, was the glue that linked all pre-existing methods of occultism and Eastern traditions. It has a set of beliefs with rules and guidelines and prohibitions, which are coined black magic, being any magic which does not aim for knowledge and conversation with the holy guardian angel. The word belief is a sticking point from one of my previous Magick Without Tears videos, but I am going to come back to the word believe in an upcoming video because I had a conversation with somebody close to me and I think there's more room to really analyze that word. So we're going to come back to the word believe. Crowley, however, has a habit of giving words new definitions or simply using them in a unique and very unorthodox way. So let's continue on. Quote, "But then there is the sense in which Fraser and I often use the word, as in opposition to science or magic. Here the point is that religious people attribute phenomena to the will of some postulated being or beings, applicable and movable by virtue of sacrifice, devotion, or appeal. Against such, the scientific or magical mind believes in the laws of nature. It asserts, if A, then B. If you do so and so, the results will be so and so, aloof from arbitrary interference." End quote. To break that down a little bit, what he's saying, the religious mind does not understand why a phenomena occurs and attributes it to some unknowable mystery. The magician seeks to understand, direct, and manifest such phenomena so that their magic might appear as a miracle to the lame. Miracle is something unexplainable or attributed to some higher being. Magic is your will in action. Quote, "Joshua, it is alleged, made the sun stand still by supplication, and Hezekiah, in the same way, caused it to go back up the dial of Ahaz. Wilt did it by putting the clock back, by getting an act of parliament to confirm his lunacy. Petruchio, too, it shall be what o'clock I say it is. The two last came close to the magical method, at least to the branch of it which consists of fooling all the people all the time. But such an operation, if true magic were employed, would be beyond the power of any magician of my acquaintance, for it would mess up the solar system completely. You remember how this happened and what came of it in a rather clever short story by H.G. Wells." End quote. So a good stab at clock changes, which sadly the USA still does. I'm not sure what other nations still do clock changes, but it's a pain in the ass here. But a good analogy nonetheless. So in this example, one Joshua prayed and thought some other being bestowed the miracle of changing the location of the sun, thus the time. The latter used words, pen, paper, and riled up a group of leeches to manifest their will of changing the clock time. The latter obviously didn't really change the sun's location, so the astrological time was exactly the same as it was prior to laws being signed, but he did change the clock at the very least. Didn't change the actual time, actual astrological time, which is what we base our clocks and our days and our calendar year upon, at least the Gregorian, right? He didn't change the actual time of the rotation of any of the planets, but he did change the clock, which we do a 60-minute per hour, 24-hour per day system of observing the Earth around the sun. Quote, "For true magic means to employ one set of natural forces at a mechanical advantage as against another set." I quote, as closely as memory serves, Thomas Henry Huxley, when he explains that when he lifts his water jug or his elbow, he does not defy the law of gravitation. On the contrary, he uses that law, its equations from part of the system by which he lifts the jug without spilling the water. End quote. So that's that. Thelema is not a religion. It uses magic. It's the opposite of miracles and attributing the miraculous to some other being. Right? Quote, "To sum up, our system is a religion, just so far as a religion means an enthusiastic putting together of a series of doctrines, no one of which must in any way clash with science or magic." End quote. Oh, okay. So it is a religion with conditions upon the definition of the word religion. That as long as this religion does not in any way conflict with the art of science and magic, fine. So, ta-da! As long as it is of the variety which permits the use and instruction of magic, negating that supernatural phenomena are not restricted to some other higher being only, then we are good. Let's get Crowley's final words on the matter as we close out. Quote, "Call it a new religion, then, if it so please your gracious majesty. But I confess that I fail to see what you will have gained by doing so, and I feel bound to add that you might easily cause a great deal of misunderstanding and work a rather stupid kind of mischief. The word religion does not occur in the book of the law." End quote. Don't! Okay, so I mean, a lot of words don't appear in the book of the law. I think the connotations of religion implies an implicit docility to the flock of followers who do things in a ritual manner without understanding why they do them. For full disclosure, when I speak to an infidel, I often term Thelema as a religion with an asterisk at the end of it, and I always phrase it something like, oh yeah, I practice Thelema. And for lack of a better term, it's a religion. However, it is more of a way of life where I study and practice magic. If the person hasn't tuned out by that point, I may go on and explain magic, but ultimately they've at least heard the word Thelema, and I've told them that it means will in Greek, and it's about figuring out who you are, taking that knowledge, and applying it at every single moment so that all of your actions are geared towards being your most authentic self through whatever actions you take in the present. And that your main goal is attaining understanding of the universe. So I hope we answered the question. Is Thelema a religion? Sure, maybe. Just do your practices and attain knowledge and conversation with the Holy Guardian Angel. Figure out what your will is. Figure out what your true will is. Be your most authentic self. And look for ways to apply that self-knowledge. And, you know, if you're like that one individual cell in the enormous body of Nui, figure out what your function is, right? You're one little particle in this universe, made from that universe, so you're a part of it. So figure out what your part is. If that's, you know, some philosophical highlight or religion or what have you, you sure. Love is the law, love under will. Catch you all in the next one.